cry aloud, spare not. Lift up thy voice like a trumpet.
I don't fucking feel like a woman. Like, I don't know how to explain this feeling to you guys, but I literally don't feel like a woman here. What the fuck is wrong with the men here? Why do they have no desire? Why do they not know how to appreciate a good-looking woman?
Serious question for my mans out there. Why are you guys not approaching women? What is that about? What is that about? I have seen so many hot guys lately, and we make eyes, we exchange the look, we have the look, and then there's nothing else. I'm like, are you gonna come approach me?
Guys not making a move anymore is so frustrating because...
So every morning on my run, I pass the same guy. He's out walking his dog. Sometimes he's with his young son. Sometimes he's not. But every morning, I say, good morning. Hey, man, what's going on? And every morning, he ignores me. This morning, flat out ignores me. This morning, I guess I passed by his house. He's coming out of his front walk. I'm passing by. We're closer than we've ever been, like 5-6 feet apart. And I say, hey, man, good morning. Doesn't look at me, totally ignores me.
Obviously, as a woman would like the men to approach me, but nowadays it hasn't been happening. Feels like the roles have been switched. Men are expecting women to approach them and be the first one to make the move.
Last year, I saw so many Black women try to solve a problem in dating by starting to host events in person, trying to create third spaces to facilitate dating like offline. And you know what would happen every single time? The men were not signing up.
It just doesn't make sense to me how women are not being asked out on dates. Like, there are so many beautiful women, like, come on, like, just shoot your shot. But a lot of the things that the guys were telling me, and these were guys from the ages of like 19 to 40, was like, no, we don't want to intimidate a woman.
This is a question for all the men out there. What stops you from asking a girl on a date? Because it's been 3 years and nobody has knocked on my door. Nobody has knocked on my door. Nobody has slid in my DMs. What y'all scared of?
For 40 years, women have told men to leave them alone. Don't approach me, you creep, they would all say. And it turns out if you keep telling men to stay away from you, they will. Modern women are going on TikTok to whine about men not approaching them. Back in the day, it was simple. A guy saw a pretty woman, walked up to her and said hi. Of course, women called that predatory and patriarchy, and now everything's messed up. Men not approaching women anymore.
All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises, all honor, and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rahakradash. Secondly, I want to give double honors to my elders and my apostles of Great Millstone who taught me this truth in righteousness and in sincerity. And third of all, I want to give salutations to the hopeful elect that's out on the highways and on the byways teaching and preaching this word in truth and in sincerity. Now, this particular lesson, as you've seen those video clips at the beginning, is going to be going into women, specifically regarding where have the good men gone, which is the title of this lesson, which is the mindset that a lot of these modern women are in right now in these last days. Where have the good men gone? Once again, that's the title of this lesson, and that's kind of what I'm gonna be going into through the Spirit. So, as we see, the Lord is pouring His Spirit out upon the earth. You know, when it comes to how a woman is supposed to operate, how she's supposed to treat a man, and what a man is and is not supposed to deal with, or you know, what he is and is not supposed to tolerate. The Lord is pouring His Spirit out, the Spirit of truth. So we're beginning to see men tolerating the bullshit from these women less and less, and you know, becoming more goal oriented, more purpose driven, even though the majority of these men that are doing this are still wicked. They're still 2/3 and you know they don't know the Lord, the end all be all is the Lord is still pouring his spirit out. You know, it's a subconscious thing, even if they don't know the Lord literally by knowing this truth. But the same thing with these women, but they're feeling the judgment that is soon to come full forth and full-fledged upon them for their wickedness, for their pride, for their destructive ways, their will and desire to destroy and cause conflict in households, you know, or, you know, they gossip all day, be talking to their friends, and their friends want to get them all kind of advice about their relationship, want to tell them what to do, and now you got outside influence that's causing your woman to buck up against you or question you, or, you know, just desire things that are vain or that are not of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, you know, causing her to get out of order, and them just having those demons within them, even if it's not a friend, you know, those thoughts. Oh, I wanted something like Aisha Curry, you know. Oh, I got Stephen Curry, but I wanted this. I wanted to be this. I wanted to be that. Still going out and desiring other men, you know, while you out and about with your woman, she looking over behind your shoulder at other men. Once you look down at your phone or you go to the bathroom, now she looking all around at all of the men that's in the area that she perceived once y'all got wherever y'all was, but she couldn't look while you was there. You know, having other phones so that she can, you know, do devious and deceitful, wicked works, dealing with men, you know, trying to get over on them, trying to get money out of them, seeking dates. That's what you hear a lot of these women speaking about. Why don't men approach me and ask me out anymore? Because they just want money from you. They just want you to take them on a date so that they can have fun, so that they can receive some kind of benefit from you. But they don't truly care about you or truly want to submit to you as a woman should. They don't want to get under your order. You know, they don't want to be led. They want you to just give them things and they lead their own way. They take what you give them or what they can take from you and they go about their way. They take until they can't take anymore and they go about their way, you know? And I'm speaking about the majority of these women, because the majority of these women are like this in different ways, whether they want to admit it or not. You know, you hopeful elect ladies out there, you should know if this applies to you or not. So if you get offended, that's because there's something within that you have not dealt with. You know, there's something within that you have not purged out. You know, so it's all thus saith the Lord. This is not me speaking my own words. This is the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai that is being poured out upon the earth. And that's what you're seeing. And that's why you're seeing videos like those video clips in the beginning. Let's not even get started on the men speaking. You know, Lord willing, I do a lesson on that. You know, with the men speaking their opinions and their piece. But not to be too long-winded, I'm going to start this lesson off with the book of Isaiah chapter 3 and verse 16, and it reads, Moreover, the Lord Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai saith, because the daughters of Zion are haughty, right, the daughters of Zion going into you Israelite women, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you Puerto Ricans, you Brazilians, you Cubans, Colombians, African Americans, Jamaicans, Haitians, you know, Argentinians, Mexicans, Chileans, Guatemalans, Panamanians, all you women of those nations, which are the nation of Israel truly, you women are proud. And that's what haughty means. And I'm gonna grab it right quick. You have been exalted by this world. You have been told that you are the prize. You are the end all be all. You are the one that's supposed to be desired above all things. You know, if a man doesn't have you, he has nothing. That's what you women have been told. It says, this is the meaning, some of the definitions of haughty: to be high, be exalted, to be high, lofty, tall. When you grab lofty, it says down here, of imposing height, moral or intellectual in nature. Right, these women be out here getting degrees, they get a big job and start making a lot of money, you know, and they feel like that raises their value. So now they can start acting proud and belittling men that are not as successful when it comes to finances or when it comes to intellect, you know, knowing how to work on somebody's body in the medical field. They start using these things, these worldly things that they acquire that are truly vain, you know, because those things are not going to help you develop into a godly woman, you know, but the order of the Lord will. So they use these things as an excuse to put down men that do approach them if they don't feel that they have enough substance, they don't feel that they have enough charm, they don't feel that they have enough beauty when it comes to how they look, their appearance. So they use these things as a fallback, like, oh, I don't need that nigga, I don't need that man, I got this, I got that. Boy, don't talk to me. You know how they like to belittle. They like to treat you like a child, you know, when they are the true children. But it says to make high, exalt, you know, to be haughty, be arrogant in a bad sense, right? You're not following instructions. You know that you're supposed to submit to a man. All of these women know that subconsciously. And these last days, it's becoming more and more of an obvious fact that these men are not to lead. They can't lead, and they are supposed to be led. But you got these women that still are arrogant. You know, they still want to do their own thing. Arrogant, you see, it says haughty, having or revealing an exaggerated sense of one's own importance or abilities. Right, that first clip talking about why don't men appreciate beautiful women anymore? She said something like that. Women be thinking just because they look good, they done worked on their bodies, they got the best hourglass in their neighborhood. You know, they got the plumpest peach in the world. Not in the world, but, you know, in their minds, they got the plumpest peach in the world. You know, they got a whole wagon behind them, you know, that make horns honk, that make people blow their horns. They think that these things are valuable when it's truly not. It's what's on the inside that's valuable. A submissive, quiet, nurturing woman that is able to be led, you know, and not resisting every instruction, you know, not questioning you, not trying to assert and overthrow your authority. You know, they don't want to do these things. They want to do the opposite. They want to challenge you. They want to try to test you and see if you go break instead of just getting in order. You got these women out here that love to say, I need a man to make me submit. I need a man to control me. I need a man to tame me like a wild beast, like I'm a wild beast. Because that's what it sounds like if you talk about I need a man to tame me or put me in my place. And they try to say because they haven't found a man like that, that's the reason why they haven't been submissive in their relationships. And they will only be submissive once they find a man masculine enough, manly enough to put them in their place. But a man like that, he's not going to want to deal with you because you're not truly even going to get in order. Even if you tried to play the role in the beginning, you know, it's not in your nature, because your true nature is what you're doing, you know. And unless you repent in the Lord, you are going to stay like that, you know, unless you get under the order of a godly man. You are not going to you are ultimately not going to change. So it reads, and walk with stretched forth necks. Right, so that walking with your head all pointed forward, your chin all stretched forward, you know, walking like you just the prize of the earth, you know, and every man that see you should bow, you know, walking around like everybody owe you something. Or just walking around with that stank face, that attitude, you know, like everybody is your enemy. Y'all wonder why y'all don't get approached. Y'all wonder why men are doing their own thing now and focusing on themselves. Because ultimately, when we see you women out here, the majority of you all have a certain pride to you. You're not humble. You're not submissive. Because you're not taught that. You're taught that you're the prize when you're not. You have to get with the prize, which is a man of Yahweh Ba'ashim Hawashai. And a man of Yahweh Ba'ashim Hawashai is not going to get with the majority of you women because you're not quality material. You know, you're low value because your insides are defiled. Spiritually and physically. All kind of men have stuck their sausage inside of you. You know? All kind of men have laid down with you. And now you wondering why a man not wanting to deal with you. You got all of these spirits, all of these different sperms within you. You're polluted. Spiritually as well. Jumping from doctrine to doctrine, just like you jump from bed to bed. You know, all of your friends poisoning your mind, poisoning your mentality, and you holding on to different bits and pieces of it, either conscious or subconscious. You get raised up in the household, your mom, you know, she wasn't raised right, so she don't raise you right. You know, all of these things play a very crucial role. And it says, stretch forth necks and wanton eyes. When you go into that wanton, it goes into basically being a whore with your eyes, you know? You just looking at all of these different men. And that's what you seeing in those video clips. Those women talking about that one woman looked like a Edomite. She talking about, you know, make eye contact with a man, y'all have to look, but he don't approach you. Guess how many men that she have that look with and that she desire to approach her? That's whorish. You got a lot of these women, every fine man, so to speak, that they see, every good looking man that they see with a good body, with a nice car, nice clothes, you know, expensive shoes, you know, expensive glasses, you know, just the things, the physical things that they desire, you know, that don't even truly bring value. When they see men like this, they stare, you know. It says right here, to oogle be wanton oogling. Now let's grab oogling. Leer at, right. What does leer at mean? It says stare at, gaze at, eye, right. You staring with your eyes, make eyes at, right. So they stare at you because they feel like they can get something out of you. They feel like you got some physical qualities that they could receive benefits from. Money, you know, notoriety, you know, fame. That's why these women worship these celebrities, because they got the money, they got the cars, the jewelry, they got other women that's desiring them. These are all physical things. It says make sheep's eyes at, right. So they literally, they become like sheep when it comes to these men. They just all, it's like that, the physically high quality men, they're like shepherds, and you got all of these women desiring these specific kind of men. You know, the majority of these women are all trying to follow the same kind of man, which is physically prosperous when it comes to money, his physique, his tone of voice, you know, his car, his clothes, his house, you know. And they're like sheep. They all following the same false image, the same vain image. It says, I'm gonna go down a little bit. It says, over undressed with one's eyes, give someone the come on. Right, so giving those seductive looks, you know, trying to seduce you with their eyes, just so that they can get what they want from you, which is money. You know, you to take them shopping, you to take them on a date and spend your money on them, make them enjoy that moment, get them that dopamine hit. You know, they want to be spoiled, but they are not worth spoiling, because they're going to spoil you, which is destroy you. You know, they want to be spoiled with good things, with benefits, just so that they can spoil you with destruction. You know, verbally, physically. You know, you got a lot of these men that then gave they last and broken themselves trying to spoil a woman just for them to end on bad terms, and she go on social media and blast them. You know, that Casa Nat situation. You know, you got her on stories talking crazy. Who knows what really went down in that situation? But the end all be all is that boy, Casa Nat, you could tell he that type that's gonna spoil. And she literally been on videos talking about how she was able to live the life that she always wanted when it come to traveling and, you know, just finances, because of him. But now he all kind of negative things. You know, this is the same thing that plays out either on social media, in the household, with the friends. You know, they be gossiping to their friends, you know, spreading lies and spreading false rumors to destroy you, to spoil you with destruction, you know, destroy you. But it says be wanton, right? So you just looking all around at every man that you feel has qualities that you desire, which are physical, because these women are carnal, they're physical. You know, when I say they're carnal, they're physical, that's all they look at. That's all they see value in. They don't look at the spiritual, you know. It says wanton. It says of a cruel or violent action, deliberate and unprovoked. Sheer wanton vandalism. Now, a lot of these women, when men approach them, and the women don't feel that the man fits the perfect image that they have in their mind of the man that they want to approach them, they give them nasty looks. They ignore them. They might try to degrade them, especially when they with their friends. We all know how women act when they with their friends compared to when they by themselves. They get a whole nother level of pride and evil. You know, their pride goes through the roof, you know, because those spirits, they congregate together. It says, number 2, sexually unrestrained or having many casual sexual relationships. These women get with a man because physically he's checking all of the boxes. He take her on a nice date. That's what Jake know all he has to do. The tricks, you know, you basically selling box, you know, you a prostitute. You got these women, they you know, see a man that's physically checking all of the boxes. They get a certain amount of benefits from him, and then they lay down with him. He don't stick around, or they don't be in order, and Jake just not about to deal with it. So that don't last long, and they keep on going to the next. You got a lot of these women raising their children, their little girls up, talking about if you get with a man and he not doing this for you, he not doing that for you, he this, he that, you know, on to the next. You know, it's more fish in the sea. But that is wicked, you know, because these women are ultimately, thus saith Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, supposed to be put to death for leaving a man like that. You know, because they go out and commit adultery. You know, it says growing profusely, luxuriant, lively, playful, a wanton fawn. Right, so they be out there dressing all provocatively, wearing all of the revealing clothing, just so that they can attract men, you know, with their bodies. And then they already know they got the outfit on. They got their cheeks clapping side to side. They leggings literally, you know, inside of their cheeks. You know, it's not even a wedgie at this point. It looked like their pants are them. You know, it looked like they're naked and they got painted pants on. You got women out here wearing jeans that tight, that up in their crack, you know, and they see you knowing that they, in their mind, are the baddest bitch on the planet, you know, the baddest one walking, and they start gazing at you. They want you to notice them, like that woman in the clip that was talking about the man that she walked past every day. You know, he be with his kids sometimes he don't. She say good morning to him, or she say something to him every day. She see him and he ignored her flat out. Look at what she was wearing. got a sports bra on, got the legging shorts on. Ain't no real high quality, high value man trying to deal with no woman that's outside dressing like that, running, and just being out in the elements around people dressed like that, because it shows what's really going on the inside, that you seeking attention, you seeking validation, and you getting with a man ain't just gonna stop that, because these women won't get in order. They're not gonna listen to you when you say, I don't want you dressing like that. I want you to wear some baggy clothes, some more so like sweats or, looser clothing that's not revealing. They're not gonna get in order. They go buck up, and eventually they go walk away and try to find somebody that's going to accept that, and those are the men that's going to be around for them. So the good men, they are forsaking you because they're not trying to deal with all of the bullshit and all of the wickedness. Even though the majority of these men are not in this truth and they don't truly know what a woman is supposed to be, how she's supposed to be submissive. She's literally supposed to treat you like, they don't understand these things. So they ultimately, it's a spiritual thing with these men. It is the Lord pouring out his spirit, And let me grab that, because that was my break. And Lord willing, I'm going to continue this lesson on as a part 2, starting from where I just left off here. But before I end this lesson, I'm going to grab that the Lord is pouring out his spirit, Now this is the book of Acts chapter 2 and verse 17, and it reads, And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. Now, this is mainly speaking about the ending, the end times. The prophecies coming to pass. You having people dreaming about martial law, civil war, nuclear fire, the nukes destroying this place. People dreaming about famine. People dreaming about all manners of things that the Lord has told us he is going to bring upon this wicked kingdom, which is America. But it's twofold, just like, the scriptures normally are, because the scriptures go deep. It says, I'm gonna reread it, and it shall come to pass in the last days, which we are in, the latter days, where the Son of the Heavenly Father, which his name is not Jesus Christ, his name is Yahweh Shai, meaning he saves, or he is the deliverer. When he is going to come, that is the last days, and we are in the latter end of the last days. So it's this pouring out of the Lord's Spirit is being amplified on a whole nother level, to the point where these men are beginning to just completely detach and see these women for what they are and who they truly are. You know how they say, if somebody show you who they are, believe them. These men for so long have not believed what these women have shown them through social media, them talking shit, talking shit in your face, disrespecting you and your relationships. These men, they have just been like, oh, that's just her. That's the majority of these women, because they're like sheep and they move together in the same spirit. We see how the women, the sisterhood is. They are unified in wickedness. They hate to correct each other, especially when it comes to public settings. They hate to acknowledge the wrong of their sisters, because they will have to do the same within themselves. And they flock as birds together of the same feather. But it says, I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh. Right. The spirit of a man, not going for that bullshit. You know, forsaking the wicked woman. You know, just like Joseph did in Egypt with Pharaoh's wife. He fled. He forsook her because she was wicked. She was trying to bring judgment upon him. You know, she was trying to defile him. And that's why she lied on him when he didn't go for it. Same spirit these women are in. And this is the same spirit that the Lord is pouring out upon these men. You know, but the men of the elect, they are going to show it forth fully, because they are going to have the knowledge, the wisdom, and the understanding of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. They have it. So they are going to forsake you fully. And they are going to let it be known exactly why. Thus saith the Lord, you're not in order. So I'm going to get out of your way and let you fall by yourself, you know? And that is what a true man would do. You're not finna just destroy me, you know? It's time for you to go. Because these women ain't true wives. They have slept around. They're not true virgins. You know, a true wife is a virgin you have sex with. These women, they're not bleeding when you lay down with them for the first time. You know, they done already got their legs open by somebody else. So truly, they're not even your wife. You know, that's not even your wife, which she should be once you stick your sausage inside of her. That's what marriage is. But like I said, I'm gonna have to come back. That was my break. I just had to, you know, add a little more to the end before I close this out. But Lord willing, I'm gonna do a part 2, you know, continuing this on, because it's a lot more to go into. But hopefully you brothers and sisters was edified here. And until next time, Shalom.
I don't fucking feel like a woman. Like, I don't know how to explain this feeling to you guys, but I literally don't feel like a woman here. What the fuck is wrong with the men here? Why do they have no desire? Why do they not know how to appreciate a good-looking woman?
Serious question for my mans out there. Why are you guys not approaching women? What is that about? What is that about? I have seen so many hot guys lately, and we make eyes, we exchange the look. We have the look, and then there's nothing else. I'm like, are you gonna come approach me?
Guys not making a move anymore is so frustrating, because
So every morning on my run, I pass the same guy. He's out walking his dog. Sometimes he's with his young son. Sometimes he's not. But every morning, I say, good morning. Hey, man, what's going on? And every morning, he ignores me. This morning, flat out ignores me. This morning, I guess I passed by his house. He's coming out of his front walk. I'm passing by. We're closer than we've ever been, like 5-6 feet apart. And I say, hey, man, good morning. Doesn't look at me, totally ignores me.
Obviously, as a woman would like the men to approach me, but nowadays it hasn't been happening. Feels like the roles have been switched. Men are expecting women to approach them and be the first one to make the move.
Last year, I saw so many black women try to solve a problem in dating by starting to host events in person, trying to create third spaces to facilitate dating like offline. And you know what would happen every single time? The men were not signing up.
It just doesn't make sense to me how women are not being asked out on dates. Like, there are so many beautiful women, like, come on, like, just shoot your shot. But a lot of the things that the guys were telling me, and these were guys from the ages of like 19 to 40, was like, no, we don't want to intimidate a woman.
They have no desire. Why do they not know how to appreciate a good-looking woman? Where did your manhood go?
This is a question for all the men out there. What stops you from asking a girl on a date? Because it's been 3 years and nobody has knocked on my door. Nobody has knocked on my door. Nobody has slid in my DMs. What y'all scared of?
For 40 years, women have told men to leave them alone. Don't approach me, you creep, they would all say. And it turns out if you keep telling men to stay away from you, they will. Modern women are going on TikTok to whine about men not approaching them. Back in the day, it was simple. A guy saw a pretty woman, walked up to her and said hi. Of course, women called that predatory and patriarchy, and now everything's messed up. Men not approaching women anymore.